In the deep south, nestled among the sugarcane fields of the bayou, sits a small town called Napoleonville, Louisiana, population 700. You could make an assumption about a boy growing up here without a dad, without much to do, with a terrible temper, and a habit of skipping school. You could make the assumption that it was a life headed nowhere. But in Brandon Jacobs' case, you'd be wrong. From the time that he was born, Brandon was destined for something big.
Hand off Jacobs into the line. He jumps instead and goes for the touchdown.
People here call him Toby. If you hear the word Toby, that means somebody here knows him. In New York, nobody knows Toby.
Where does that nickname come from?
Because when he was first born, he was so big, and the movie Roots, there was a big baby on Roots, and they called him Toby. And when my daddy first saw him, he said, "Damn, that's Toby." So he kind of, because he was a big baby.
A big boy growing up in a small house among a tight-knit family, there was love for Brandon to fall back on, but also trouble for him to get into.
I was an angry kid. I had a quick temper. It didn't take too much to set it off.
It hurt him in school because his behavior kind of took over for the academic part, because he chose not to study. I chose not to be in school. I chose not to do homework. This is not important. I want to do what I want to do.
Because he missed so much time in school, Brandon was placed in special education classes. The stigma attached to that followed and taunted him.
Everybody always said, "Oh, he's slow, he's this, he's that." And he felt he had to prove everybody wrong.
A lot of kids, if they're put in that situation, would just quit. I'm sure you know a lot of kids that didn't make it through high school. They just dropped out. So what kept you in when you had all these things kind of stacked against you?
Well, at that point, it was kind of do or die for me. If I don't get it right now, I'll never have a chance to get it.
The change in Brandon's behavior began with an unlikely change at home. It was a move just down the road that made all the difference, and it came with his mother's blessing.
He was having problems, at home with his mom, so he moved in with his aunt. She was more of a disciplinarian, and that kind of changed his goals.
I told him, I don't run to school for my children. I'm not going to start running with, you can live here, but, you're going to do the right thing, or I can't tell you what I told him, but, I kind of put it in some good terms. He got the picture.
With Brandon's Aunt Teasy making sure he did his schoolwork, Brandon's athletic abilities began to shine through. But his lack of patience almost derailed his football career before it even began.
Yeah, I wanted to play varsity, but I wasn't playing enough there. So I'm going to go play basketball. I'll quit. So I just quit and never went back out there until my junior year.
Coming into our junior year, we had physicals, free physicals, which the school provides through our team doctor. And he was leaving because the line was long. He didn't feel like waiting. So he's passing by. I grabbed his hand. I said, "Where you going?" "I'm going home. I don't have time to stay and wait." Like, no, stay here, let's talk. We'll be in the front of the line by no time.
Took the physical. Coach said, "Hey, what's your back?" I'm like, "I'll give it a shot."
As a junior and senior year, the 2 years that he played, he was tremendous. We knew if we blocked him, we got him to linebackers, he would score because no defensive back in high school was willing to take him on.
With just a certificate of appreciation from high school, Brandon almost missed a chance to continue his football career. But a junior college in Kansas found him and helped him get his high school diploma. That led to a scholarship at Auburn University. Playing behind future first-round draft picks Ronnie Brown and Carnell Williams meant less playing time for Brandon, and he almost quit again. But with pep talks from Aunt Teasy to keep him going, Brandon transferred to Southern Illinois in 2004. A year later, he was drafted by the New York Giants and was a key part of their Super Bowl championship season.
You have such a distinct running style. Do you think you still run angry?
I am a very angry runner. When I realized what I can use that anger on, and it's football, I started to use it and, just turn that negative anger into positive anger. And, it worked out for me.
What do you think you'd be doing now if you didn't play football?
I have no idea. Well, I was still there in that town. There's been some negative stuff. From being placed in special education, beating those odds, So a lot of people thought I couldn't do it. A lot of people thought I wasn't smart enough to do it. So I had a lot of people start to help me, start to pull me in the right direction. Here I am today with a Super Bowl ring. I'm working on number 2.